Okay, welcome back to the Q&A section. I appreciate the extra 5 minutes here. And so we're going to go ahead today and talk about some of the questions that were submitted last week and earlier this week in the survey that we did. And we put these questions out. These were submitted by other people. Some of them are very simple. Some of them are a little more complex. But the idea here is that if you can learn something or gain something from this, all the better, right? So the first question, there were really three topics: marketing, operations, and intake. And so we're going to take them in that order. The first question on marketing was a simple one. How can I differentiate my practice from my competitors? It's a very common question. In my mind, there are a couple of ways. First, focus on developing a specific niche within your practice area. If you can qualify as a specialist, all the better. By focusing in a specific area of law, you can differentiate your services from generalist competitors. And that's a major thing, because if you are building websites and you're putting all this time and effort into getting your message out, the more focused you can make that message, the better. Now, an even easier way to do this is simply to offer unparalleled client experiences. Differentiation isn't always about what services you offer, but about how you offer them. If you implement client-centered practices like transparent communication, personalized service, and innovative solutions, and do it in a way where you're not saying it, right? It's going to make it a lot better. And then sharing stories with your prospects and your clients of how your approach has made a difference in your clients' cases or lives is all the better. I mean, it just helps all the way around. The second question is, what are the most effective digital marketing strategies for law firms? Great question. I love this one. And there are two trains of thought here. One is that you can leverage content marketing by creating informative blog posts, videos, infographics, answer common questions or concerns that potential clients may have. Now, it takes a while, and in fact, it can take years to be omnipresent here, but ultimately, it's worth it. And a second way to do this is to focus on search engine optimization and local SEO, or local, processing of what's going on, to ensure your firm appears prominently in search results. Now, Google offers a myriad of different ways to soft advertise to potential clients when they're looking for legal assistance in your practice area. This is things like Google Screened, okay? You got to pay for it, but it's worth it. All right, the next question is, how can I ethically solicit reviews and testimonials from clients? Great question again. Number one, I say simply ask your satisfied clients if they'd be willing to leave a review on your Google My Business listing or another relevant platform. And make sure that platform is solid for you. You want to make sure to let them know that their feedback is valuable to you and to future clients, but reassure them that there's no pressure and their confidentiality will be respected. This is key. Okay. Third question, what's the best way to use social media to engage potential clients without violating ethical guidelines? And this goes right along with what we were just talking about. When you share educational content related to your practice area, and if it provides value to your followers without giving specific legal advice, like you can do general tips, updates on relevant laws, and commentary on industry trends, that's a good habit to go through. At the same time, you can engage with your community by highlighting your involvement in local events, your pro bono work, your charitable causes. It shows your firm's commitment to the community and helps build a positive brand image without the risk of ethical violations. Now, I'm going to say this, and it's going to probably attorneys, but it still needs to be said. Always include a disclaimer that your posts are for informational purposes only. Okay? Without that, it can be construed, cause content, content problems. It just isn't worth your time. The next question, this is a tough one. How can I measure the success of my marketing efforts? Let's face it, you're putting money into this, you want to get something back from it, right? I recommend that firms who can afford to do so outsource much or all of this to an analytics agency and not necessarily a marketing company. I know it's controversial, but you want to make sure they track the source of new inquiries and clients through your CRM. Now, you're going to have to open it up to them, but that's the way that it goes. And when you get information about clients, about how they heard about your firm, and you start recording this data, you can identify which marketing channels are most effective in generating leads. Okay? But you need the analytics side to be able to help you. Now, you can also have that agency analyze your website and social media analytics to measure engagement and conversion rates. Look at the metrics such as page views, time spent on site, bounce rates, what actions they took. Did they fill out that form? Did they do this? How far down? Heat maps tell you how far people went. This data can help you refine your digital marketing strategies for better results. Okay, the next section on questions is on operations. And the first question is, how can I improve the efficiency of my law firm's operations? Now, if you haven't already done so, implement legal practice management software. You want to streamline your case management, your document storage, your billing, and your client communication. Also, going along with the agile concept, adopt a lean approach to your firm's operations by continuously identifying and eliminating waste in your processes. So if you're putting waste into your case management solution, that's not a good thing. Next question, what are the best practices for client data protection and privacy? Now, I came from a security background. This is my, this is my playground, right? And when I work with companies. So when I'm talking about security, what I mean is real security, not the basic stuff, right? If you're running your storage locally, invest in a robust cybersecurity measure. You want to have firewalls, antivirus software, secure client portals for communication, and your document exchange. And if you run your information in the cloud, make sure your vendors all have proactive security systems in place with the ability to run reports. You want to know at a glance that your client's information is protected. And if you have a prospect asking you questions about how well you take care of your information, there's nothing better than walking over to your computer while they're sitting there, run a report, and anonymously be able to provide them with that information. That will absolutely make their day if they are concerned about client security at all. All right, the third and final section here is on intake. And these questions are really interesting. I always like to see how people kind of approach intake in their mind. And so this first question, it's part of a two-parter. The first question is, what do you think is the most efficient way to manage new client intake? Now, keep in mind, I'm working at this from a consulting point of view, but the idea is still the same. It doesn't really matter whether it's consulting, whether it's legal. Our whole goal is exactly the same. And I tell my clients the same thing that I do myself, which is to implement an automated intake system that feeds right into your CRM. It captures the client information, uses direct online forms, and it integrates the information directly into any case management software. It's going to streamline the data entry, and it's going to make sure that there's no details are lost in the process. If you've done your job up front, this should be a piece of cake. Okay, it should not be difficult at all. And when you're doing this, it's possible to outsource the intake process if you don't have a clear method or the time to complete your own. A lot of single sole proprietor attorneys do this. They outsource it to different companies, mine included. I mean, we do this part-time for it, and it's not uncommon. For the second question is, how do we ensure we're not missing important information during our intake? Now, if you're doing this automated, it requires you upfront create a comprehensive checklist for each case type your firm handles. That ensures that all relevant information is gathered from the start. It reduces the need for follow-up calls, and it speeds up the case preparation process. Again, if this is automated, that's an even better idea. And this last question comes from someone who's followed me before. They asked, if we're supposed to focus on the client first and last, how do we improve the client's experience during the intake process? Well, we all know that intake can be a bit adversarial if it's not handled well. You're going to be diving deep into questions that may not be comfortable. I recommend firms simplify the intake process by minimizing paperwork first. You want to utilize user-friendly digital forms that can be filled out at the client's convenience, and that's going to improve the initial experience with you. If you're doing that, there's less of a reason for it to be a problematic kind of thing, and you'll know quickly when something is missing. Another way to make this easier is to use more than one method of communication to accommodate the client's preferences. Whether that's phone, email, text messaging, video calls, whatever. You want to take the intake process and make it more accessible and convenient for everyone involved. Not everyone likes a Zoom meeting, and not everyone likes a phone call. Email does have its benefits, and a lot of people forget about that. So that's the last of the questions today. I want to thank you very much for your time. I hope this has been helpful for you. I know that a lot of people, when I'm talking with them, they're, any kind of a help that we can give as professionals makes them feel a lot better, and that's a great thing. So once again, thanks for the Q&A process. I hope this whole workshop has been great for you. If you have any questions, you can go right onto my website. We have the ability to fill out any kind of forms. Give us a call. My email is directly on the website, so there's no surprise here. For now, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Once again, thank you very much for the workshop. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. I have guidebooks on the 3 intake secrets of a successful law practice. I have one on bulletproof legal advertising. And for those who are interested, ADA website compliance is also my 3rd guidebook. And this is something that a lot of people are not familiar with yet, but it will become very familiar along the way. Legal law practices are still kind of fighting over whether the website must be ADA compliant or not. But if you look on my website, you can look over on the left-hand side. There's a little dude there. You can click it. And this is to help for people who are either visually impaired, they might be blind, they might need to see different color contrasts, and they may need larger letters. I have friends that's the way it is. As we get older, it becomes harder and harder to deal without these. So if you're interested, I can provide that to you. Just send me an email. Be more than happy to get that out to you, or any of these guidebooks.